How's it going, guys? Jackzer here, and today I'm going to be giving you the ultimate beginner's guide for iRacing in 2024. So this is going to be a very basic video. This is going to show you your way around the UI, what everything means, a kind of simple walkthrough or kind of explanation of how the progression works in iRacing, and maybe things you might want to look out for, or just things to be aware when it comes to this whole service. So let's jump straight into it. So part one is just familiarizing yourself with this whole UI. It's not as scary as it looks. Here you have some stats up here. You have all your tabs here that you can access different services within the UI. Over here you have a clear view of all of your licenses and classes. Up here you have your own license up here. And this is pretty important because when you click on these guys, they've moved it. Once you click on these guys, this will show you where you're at or where your progression is. As you can see, I've been a bit sloppy in my racing recently, so I've paid the price. But I mainly race road, so this would include sports cars and formula cars or open wheel cars. Formula car racing, sports car racing, that's what they call it. These have their own safety rating and their own iRating. So the way iRating works is your skill level. Probably the reason why you're here. When you win a race in iRacing, you gain iRating. If you lose a race, you lose it. So let's say there's 20 people in a race. Top person gets 100, the bottom person loses 100. P10 and 11 don't win or lose anything. So as you can see, there's a relationship. For someone to win, someone has to lose. It's a zero-sum game. And if you actually look at the distribution, this is what the iRating distribution chart looks like. It's a very fair chart, obviously with a lot of new players and slower people down to one end, and then you have the outliers skewing the bell curve way out far, all the way up to 10 or 11,000 iRating. So that's basically how iRating works. The higher it is, the tougher the competition you'll be put up against, and sometimes it can fluctuate. When you start off, you'll start off with 1350, win a couple races, you might be put up into a class that's too fast for you, and then you'll kind of come back down. You'll find your sweet spot. Don't be worried if you get put into a class where everyone's too fast and you're thinking, I can't win. Because personally, when I'm winning races all the time, that means I'm not in an iRating split. That's what they're called, splits, kind of these different sections. I'm not in an iRating split where I think I'm given enough competition. I'd rather be in an iRating split that I find too difficult, and I'd much rather a well-earned P8 than a too easy P1. Next is safety rating. So iRating, pretty simple, skill. Safety rating, safeness. So when you start off in iRacing, you will have a safety rating of rookie level. You won't even have a class, a letter, or you won't have class numbers. You will just have a big red thing saying rookie. What you need to do is, you need to have a lot of safe races, and then after a while you'll go up to C. So once you get to 3, you'll instantly jump into D. It's DCBA. You'll be in D class. And how it works with the promotions, it's quite simple. If you hit 3 or over, you're eligible for promotion at the end of the season. And we can see up here where we are in the season. If you hit 4 and you've done all your minimum participation races, which means you've done races that you've become eligible for in that category. So let's say you want to go from D to C. You need to do 4 races or 4 time trials, and we'll get to that later on. Once you have those races complete, as you can see, I have mine here, so I just need to get my safety rating up a bit, and then I'm eligible to be promoted at the end of the season. Or if I hit 4 before the end of the season, it'll be an instant fast track promotion straight away into the next class. Same works the other way around. If you have less than 2, like you see here, I'm ready for demotion at the end of the season. If you hit 1, you instantly go down. Similar, it's an instant demotion. It's a cruel world. So you will find that if you try and work hard for your safety rating and you force it up to A class, it may come tumble down a little bit if you were doing it in an unnatural way. So what goes up fast does come down fast. The same is for iRating, the same is for safety rating. That's worth remembering. There is also one other thing to note in safety rating that's really important. When you hit a whole number, it'll jump you up 0.5 or it'll put you down 0.5. What I mean by that is when you finish a race, let's say you gain 0.1 safety rating and you are at 1.99. So you have 0.10 you got from that race, positive. So you go up 0.10. Naturally, you think you would be at 2.09. It would be that, but also plus 50. So when you cross whole numbers, you move up fast. You also move back down fast. So do be aware when you're close to a whole number down at the bottom range, or you're close to getting to a whole number, just being extra safe for that race, achieving that whole number can give you quite the buffer away from where you were. So it's a very good way to make progress, is being aware that whole numbers matter quite a lot. So I'm only a few numbers away here, and I'll jump back down. If I was to have a few bad races, I could end up in Class B. I believe it's 2.46. That's where I would jump down, plus whatever I lost in that race. So that's kind of the gist with safety rate. It moves around quite a lot. It's worth keeping an eye on. Now also in here, there's many other things. There's your stats. There's all your races. There's cool things. You can explore this for yourself. Here you can actually see the results for your races. You can click in your friends lists, and you can also see their results too. Your awards and your certificates are in here too, which are pretty cool. You'll have your first race win. You can actually view the certificate, and yeah, there you go. You can print that out, stick that in your wall. So you do have certificates. Customized driver is also possible as well, but I have a video for trading paints. So trading paints is a whole other thing you can do to get custom skins, custom suits. Definitely worth looking into. Another thing you'll notice down here is the race participation credit program. A lot of people will tell you get paid to race. To do this, you'll have to spend a lot of money. You'll have to buy the least desirable tracks, and I'm sure there's tracks you'd like to buy first rather than buy the tracks that are on these calendars. So I wouldn't focus too much on this at all. If you're looking to save money, there's way easier ways to save money in iRacing, and this isn't the way to go about it personally. If they get done, they get done. Fair enough, you'll get a tiny bit of credit, but it's not a lot. So keep that in mind. Pretty important. Don't over focus on this. It goes without saying as well, you don't need to spend a lot of money in iRacing to have fun. You can get the subscription and just go with it at that. You have access to the Formula Vs, you have access to the Formula Rays, and you have access to the Mazdas. You can race that for years and have fun. So you do not have to pay to have fun in this game. Obviously, you'll be looking at other cars and thinking, wow, I wish I could drive that. That looks fast. But trust me, there's so much to learn when it comes to racing and driving. You can string this out for a long time. Next up is my content. This will show what you have. Pretty important. Cars, tracks, this is what you have. And when it comes to things you don't have, that's all in the shop here. Now, we're not going to get too into this because it is a very well done out shop. Funny enough, I don't have many cars left to buy, but this list will be a lot bigger for yourselves, as there is quite a lot of content that's put out, and there's quite a lot of regular content that's put out. In general, I would advise don't buy the cars when they come out straight away. Wait on it for a month, and then see how, or a month or two, and see how the participation is afterwards. And we'll get into what all that means afterwards. So, next up is official. So once you are here, the way you will see it is like this. I would highly, highly recommend you change it to list view, because it's not very apparent what's going on here. Maybe that's just me, this is subjective. If you like this way, you can leave it on, but if you put it into list view, you can put on tags. So let's say we only want rookies. This is what you'll see, and I'm going to break it down for what all this is. So here you have a star. You can favorite these, and then you can show all your starred races. I'll turn off this, and here you can see all my favorite races I like to do. So we're going to put back the rookie tag. So these are just the formula, and you're probably thinking, where is the Mazdas? The Mazdas are here under this tab in sports car. So anything that has a roof is in sports car. Anything that has no roof is in formula car. So we'll hop into sports car now. As you can see, that's favorited because I like this. I don't like this, so I didn't favorite it. Here is how long it is until the race registration ends. So if you click this button here, as you hover over, it says you will register for the next race at 8 p.m. So right now the time is 7:43. This ends in 16 minutes. 1 + 2 = 3. We know that this is on at 8 p.m. Here are the amount of people that are registered for the race. So you can tell if a series is popular or not. This is a very popular series. Here is the license. This means that this is the license required to race this. You have this if you've joined iRacing. You will have this, and you will have this until you progress up to D class. You will be able to come back and race these at any time though. This is the logo. Very important for finding it, because you'll always remember the color schemes and stuff like that. So it's the quickest way to find something when your list is quite big. Here's the name of the series, the car that's involved, the track that's involved, whether it's a fixed setup or an open setup, which means you're allowed to have your setup. But if you're just involved in iRacing, don't worry about setups yet. You just do fixed races. That way you race against people with the same kind of cars. And MPR will tell you if this is going to help you for your promotion. Now, because I'm a class B, it's not going to help me, but in rookies it's going to let you know. It's going to have a green tick here or something letting you know that this is going to count towards your minimum participation races. And then the register button. Now, what if you just want to practice? Which you can. You just click anywhere along here. I can click here, 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 and we're going to open it up. So we get this page here, and on this page there's quite a lot of useful stuff. Here we have the races, and these races are 8, 9, 10, 11. So all the races are at the top of the list. And down below we have practice sessions. We can see when they close. So naturally, we don't want to join one that's only 12 minutes long or has 12 minutes left, because that means the server is going to close and you're going to be kicked out. So you want to join one that, let's say, is freshly open. This one, no one's in it yet. Just opened up 1 minute and 12 seconds ago. So you join this. There we go. Someone, my lovely assistant here, joined in, and that's basically meaning you're in a practice session. And when you're in a practice session, you're in a session with lots of other people. We will jump into that just a little bit later on, and I'll explain how that works, but it's very simple. You'll be on the track, and that's it. You can practice with other people. Your safety rating isn't affected, and your iRating isn't affected. That's very important. When you go into a race, your safety rating is affected, and your iRating definitely is affected. We're going to talk about that just in a little second, because I'm going to jump up here. So practice sessions, practice, race. So you can plan out your races here. Some races aren't on the hour. Some races are every 2 hours. They go from fixed setup to custom setup or open setup. So this is a good way you can plan out your races here. Or you can download the app, and it also tells you your races, whichever races are on. Depending on what car you're racing, this section may say it's raining. Now, some cars in iRacing don't have rain at the moment, but eventually they all will. So rain will pop up here. Entries, we can see who's registered for the race. You may see some celebrities in here, you may not, but this is everyone that's registered for the race as of now. The schedule, very important. This lets you know where you're racing, where you have raced, and where you will race. Right now, April 16th. It's April 19th now, but this is the week of the 16th. And the tracks change every Tuesday. That's how it works in iRacing. And there's maintenance every Wednesday, where they bring it down for a few hours. So here we are at WeatherTech Raceway at Laguna Seca. And next week it's going to be at Virginia, Alton Park, Lime Rock, Toscuba, Rudskoden, Winton Motor Raceway. For all the rookie stuff, everything's free. So you don't have to worry about buying content. It's all good. Coming back up here, so we've just covered our schedule, track info. This is you can have a look here. Series info, again, you can have a look here. It isn't imperative to your success. Series results and series stats. This is important. So if you are wanting to compete in a series, you will look here at your series stats. This is very important, and you will see what division you're in. You'll be put in a division with people of similar skill. You can check in on your points. That's a whole separate thing that I'm not going to even include here. So if you do want to look up how to get involved in racing in the leagues and the championships, look that up. That is secondary here to starting out and getting your first race under your belt. Series results is very important because here you can tell how fast you need to be to compete with people of your level. So when you first join iRacing, you're going to be 1350 iRating, like we said. Here is that level-ish, somewhere in and around here. So we're going to click in, let's say, on the 1378. We can see the fastest lap is a 138.49. So we're going to come into the results and we'll see what they're actually doing. Here's their average lap times, and here's their best lap time too. So when you're looking here, you can see all their data. You can see what they won iRating wise, what they earned or what they lost. Here you can see the curve like I was trying to explain. Here you can see their safety rating, loss and gain. This pertains to their incident points, and we'll jump into that later on. Best lap times, average lap times. So you'd pick a number here. What I'm seeing here is if you can do a 141 or a 142, you're in for a good race. And the fastest lap times obviously are once-offs. That could be involved, let's say, with a bit of drafting and stuff like that. But in general, this gives you an idea of what people in your rank are doing with the strength of field of 1378. And strength of field means the strength of the iRating in the field. So that's pretty important. Session results, I believe, series results. So that's how you can benchmark yourself and check against your competition. So that's pretty much everything. We do have hosted sessions that you can join in that are private sessions. We do have time attack. We do have AI single player. I do have a separate video on how to do that, so just hop onto my channel, look for how to start an AI race in iRacing, because this is just, I'm trying to funnel this in, because I could really stretch this out for a long time talking about all these little things. So I just want to talk about how to get you into a race first, because all these little things you can build up on after time. But once you know the main vein of how to get into a race, that's the most important part. So now we are going to jump into a race, or not a race, we are going to jump into a practice session, which everything I do in the practice session will be the same in the race. It will all carry over, and you'll know what I mean in a minute once we're in. So once we join a practice session, we have this bar up here. Withdraw means we have to get out of the session. As you can tell here, if I just, let's say, swap to Formula Car, I can't join any other sessions because I'm already registered up here. So if you can't join another session, make sure you withdraw from the one you're currently in. You press join, and now it opens up. You'll get a few first time messages that pop up here asking to use an automatic graphic setting. Click accept, and then you can do that once you're in the sim. So now when you join your first practice session, this is what you're going to see. There's a few things we're going to do first. We're going to set ourselves up, and then we're going to go in, and I'll show you different ways that you can go in. But first of all, we'll jump in our options. We have to calibrate our inputs. So we're going to click on the steering, put it all the way to the left, all the way to the right, and then we are going to center our wheel for our center, and then press done. We're going to hold it all the way left. Ideally get 1080, and that's done. We're going to do our pedals. We're going to press our accelerator down all the way. We're going to lift it back all the way. Press done. Get our brake. We're going to press it down all the way, and we're going to lift it up all the way. Press done. I'd recommend you use auto clutch if you're starting out, but if you don't want to, you can always calibrate clutch. I use my paddles on my steering wheel, so I pull them both in. I let go of both of them. That's my clutch calibrated. And then the gearbox, depending on what you use for a shifter, that's my upshift, and then my downshift. If you have a H pattern shifter, you click this and then it'll tell you to find first, second, third, fourth and fifth and sixth or whatever in reverse. I don't. Now an important button here, enter, exit, tow car. This is going to be your get in and get out button. We're going to choose a button. Remember this button because it's very important. Look left and look right. You can click this, set those buttons. Look up, look down. It's not very necessary at all. When you first start off as well, it's very important to turn on the driving line. I'd highly recommend it. Pit exit line. If you really need it, braking assistance and throttle assistance is there for you. It's there for a reason. I'd recommend auto blip in these cars. And what that means is when you try an upshift or downshift, you don't have to stab the throttle and you won't get the car fighting against you when you're trying to downshift. I'd recommend all of these guys on for the start, very important. And that's pretty much that. In options, you know, we can build on all this sort of stuff at a later date. Graphic settings, I have a very comprehensive graphic video that you can check out on my video in my description below. Link there. It goes over all this stuff, how to make your game look good and how to make it feel good, as in higher frames per second. Sound, I also have another sound video that I'm going to link directly underneath that, which also shows how to configure your sound for different ways and different settings and how to optimize it so you can control it all in the simulator. And your controls, again, I have I'm going to be releasing another video soon, but these ones are the most important ones you want to sort out. If anything, your relative black box. Click this, set a button, so you can always get back to your relative in-game. So before we jump in, we just have down here these tabs. These are the different rooms you can hop in. The servers fill them up from top to bottom, so these are full, so I can't go in here. It only wants to put me in 4, but that's because I was the last person to join here. So let's say you want to practice on your own, come down to the bottom. Let's choose an empty room. Now, you're the only person in here. You can shift up, you've automatic pit speed limiter, and this is where the fun starts. You basically leave the pits, don't cross the white line, and start practicing. I'm not going to get too into this because I could spend quite a long time here explaining what to do, how to drive, and things to focus on. But main thing is, focus on not leaving the track, have a good time, and press tab, and you will make your delta bar pop up. And you can cycle through different things, such as your session best lap, which is your best time in this particular session. I'm not looking at the track, there's an off track up there. And we have our session last lap as well. That's a nice one I like to use because you just focus on your last lap rather than trying to chase a lap you did like 2 months ago. While we're out here, I'm just going to explain the incidents. So you get incidents for a few different things. One thing you get incidents for is off tracks. When you leave the track, we get a 1x. That's 1 incident point. Now if I spin and lose control, let me see if I can do something like that. If we look up, loss of control is then a 2x for that. If you touch another car, which is the worst of the worst in iRacing, you get a 4x for that. So that's how that works. There's other little things as well. Let's say sometimes you brush by a car and you barely touch them, that's a 0x. But if they then go off the track because of that tiny touch, that can sometimes go to a 1x. You avoid the 4x, but it can progress. And the way incident points affect your safety rating is there's an equation for them. Again, I'm not going to get too into it now, but it's the amount of incident points you have worked in with your corners per minute. So however fast you do the corners in the track, you know, you have incidents per corner and your corners per minute. So if you're driving slow around the track and you're getting lots of incidents, you're going to get hurt because it's a short race. So you don't get many corners done in total. If you get lots of incidents, you don't have a lot of time to dilute them, let's say. And also, if you are picking up a lot of incidents in the race, what's going to happen is you may even get disqualified, and you don't want that. So always keep an eye on the track limits, use the track to its fullest, but don't be afraid when you're starting off to just, you know, stay at your own limits and stay comfortably away from the edges, because incident points can come from weird spots. Let's say exiting this corner may not feel like an incident point, but we put our wheels off the track there. So keep that in mind when you're racing. Incident points need to be kept down, and it is your priority when you're racing is to keep it as safe as you can so you can progress, because it's one thing learning how to drive fast, but it's another thing focusing on your safety points, because once the safer you are, the better your experience is going to be. You can identify crashes and you can see different things happening, but that's all for you to discover when you're in your races, and that is racecraft, and that is a whole separate video. This is just how to use iRacing and what different things mean. So let's hop back out here and I'll talk you through the race. Okay, so when you're ready for your race, you're going to withdraw from your practice session. There, the green bar has disappeared. We can then register for a race. We click register. We'll notice a message pop up here. It's going to say you are registered for your race session, awaiting assignment to a server. You may join your session, but what happens when this countdown timer disappears is that you are actually available to join your session instantly. If you're in the game, you know that you're able to race because down the bottom there will be text saying registered for the race. 148 people are waiting. If you don't have that text there, more than likely you're not registered. That's very important. And what happens is when the clock strikes the hour, bang, you go straight into the race, and you will have 3 minutes of practice where your incidents affect your safety rating. They have a 25% effect. In qualifying, they have a 50% effect, and qualifying is 8 minutes, 1 out lap and 2 hot laps, which determine your place in the grid for the start of the race, depending on the faster lap. Whoever does the fastest, they are the people who get to start at the front, the slowest at the back, and then some people choose not to qualify and start from the pits. And then once qualifying ends, you then start the race, you press the grid button up top, and then you grid. Now, if some people want to keep it super safe and they don't want to get involved in the first lap crashes, you can wait for the grid button to disappear, and then it'll give you an option to start from pits. Some people do that. You start 5 seconds behind the whole pack. It gives you a bit of a buffer from all the BS, you know, and then you can get into your rhythm and slowly pick people off one by one and just get used to driving on track. People have different opinions about it. Some people want to get straight into racing. Some people just want to get into a race but start at the back and kind of watch how everything goes. So it's up to you how you want to do it. But yeah, so that's my basic, very super basic guide for starting out in iRacing. This is just how to navigate the UI, what a few different buttons mean. These are just things I wish people would have told me when I started off in iRacing. And yeah, if you enjoyed the video, drop a like. If you have any questions at all, leave a comment. Hopefully I or someone else will answer them. And yeah, happy hunting.